And you also have another chapter about convincing talent to join your cause. How do you do that?
Well, we may write a whole nother book on this, and this
Yeah.
is the shortest chapter in the book.
Yeah.
So we don't pretend to have solved the problem. But I think the first thing to do is to have invested in your social networks, your online networks, so that talented people come to you, and they come to you with the impression that they might want to work with you. And most groups underinvest in doing that because on any single day, it never seems that important. It's never a fire you have to put out. But over time, your image with the rest of the world really, really matters. Like, who is it that will recommend you to the talented people? So if you treat talent as just about, well, I'm sitting in my chair, I picked the best of three candidates, you've already failed.
Hmm.
The biggest question is, how do you get the best people to show up, possibly wanting to work with you?
I am a CPA, so I know a lot of colleagues in my profession tend to evaluate employees sometimes differently than others. We're numbers people, and I'm curious how you feel about some of us that tend to look at employees as assets and whether or not they're going to deliver to me return on investment. Do you view your employees that way when you're evaluating prospective and even a current employee? Do you ever quantify them into whether or not they're providing ROI for your business?
Yes, but you have to think of them as more than ROI. They ought to feel you genuinely care about their human contribution to what you're doing. Um, and that should be sincere. You'll
Mm,
attract more and better talent that way. So you can't keep on people who are just, destroying revenue for you or alienating coworkers and doing nothing of value. But that said, if you simply think of these people as numbers, that's a pretty low ceiling on who it is you can attract. And even if you look, to go back to sports, you said,
yep.
well, why talk about sports? You see a lot of examples in the history of sports where players want to work or play for particular teams because they feel they'll be treated a certain way. Not just, well, how many fans does Michael Jordan bring in the gate? But like, what does he do for the image of Chicago, long run history of the team, motivating other players,
Right.
and so on.
Okay. So I subscribe to your newsletter, Marginal Revolution, which I receive. I think it's just a few times a week, but it's not daily. I don't see it coming out, but I read it every single time, and I love it. And it
Thank
is
you.
basically, I don't know what we would say, what, half a dozen to a dozen links to stories, essays, things that are written that are of interest to you. And I'm wondering, Tyler, if you ever decide to retire, and which I hope you don't,
I won't.
and
Not
good,
unless I have to. Yeah.
but let's assume, and you were going to hire somebody to take over Marginal Revolution, which I think seems like it's your baby. Like you enjoy that very much. What would you look for in that candidate? How would you evaluate that candidate?
Well, my co-blogger, Alex Tabarrok, is about 10 years younger than I am. So
Okay.
the key question would be, can the person get along with Alex? And the main person deciding that would be Alex. But I also know Alex, and he would call upon me for help, because in some ways I'm a better judge of some of those things than he is. On Marginal Revolution, I would just say the part we email out is a little sporadic, but if you just visit the site, marginalrevolution.com, there's 5 posts every day.